Hey there everyone, SQ here, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a different type of video than what I normally do. I want to go through the entire cast of Guilty Gear Strive and kind of just talk about the characters in detail. Kind of different than a tier list, right? Tier lists are usually just like, talking about all the characters very quickly and ranking them or whatever. But what I want to do in this series of videos is actually give each character, 5 or 10 or however many minutes to talk about why the character is strong or maybe not so strong, and talk about why people think the way they do about that character, and just kind of talk about like their strategy, and what makes that character what they are in the current meta of the game. And I figured what better character than to start the series of videos out with than my own, with Ram. And Ram's kind of funny because I feel like she's become like the most hated character in Strive right now, or at least one of them. And I feel like I see a lot more people, like more and more every day, like saying like, is Ram the best character? Does she lose any matchups? What's her downsides? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Ramlethal. Let's talk about her strengths. Let's talk about her weaknesses. And I think the main strength about Ram that I could like kind of summarize for you is that she's a very consistent character. And what I mean by that is that she doesn't really have to take risks. Her general strategy is pretty low risk. Her reward is pretty high for those low risks as well, which is something you usually want in a character, right? If you have low risk and high reward, you're usually just kind of broken. And that kind of applies to Ram. Like, she just has very safe pokes. She can really hold down the neutral between like far slash and 5H. Even her close range pokes like 5K and 2K are amazing. Her 6P is a fantastic counter poke and a fantastic anti-air. So she just has a lot of ways to, kind of keep you having to respond to her neutral tools, which is always a great thing to have, is when the other character has to respond to you, right? And on top of that, she also has a very good movement speed. Her movement speed is above average for sure. And what that means is that like whenever you have somebody respecting your button so much, it means that you get more time to just dash up at them and push them towards the corner, which is what Ram ultimately wants. Of course, the number one thing everyone will kind of point towards with this character being, absurdly strong is of course her corner pressure. Right, her corner pressure is some of the best in the game, and it's so good because she doesn't really have to take a risk, right? Like, again, she just kind of throws plus frames at you. She doesn't really ever have to overcommit or anything. She just raises your risk gauge, and if you ever get touched, you just explode. Very often into like a R2 burstable or just straight up unburstable combo. Now, the one thing that is kind of different about Ram, if we wanted to try to talk about like her downsides, I guess, as a character, is that unlike every other top tier in this game, there's kind of two things the other top tiers all have in common, and that is that they have some type of strong mix-up. Either they have a command grab, or they have some type of high-low that they can throw at you consistently, or they have a strong defensive option. They either have a meterless DP, or they have like a 4-frame or a 3-frame normal that helps them out on defense, which is especially strong in Strive because the general system mechanics for defense are not particularly strong. The thing about Ram is that she doesn't have either of these things. Her mix-up, while she does have fantastic pressure and it's very low to middle, she doesn't have like a command grab, she doesn't have a high-low mix-up, she's not like a Leo, and she's not like a Nago or something like that, right? While her pressure is very good, it's not the type of mix-up that she can just kind of like, I guess, rob you with. But she can still kind of rob you because her block string requires you to answer it. If you do not answer this block string, if you don't know what you're doing, she does not ever have to stop. And that is what makes her pressure so strong, is that it's kind of up to the opponent to make her stop. If they don't, she's never going to stop. And then on defense, her fastest normal is 5 frames, and it's her 5P. And sometimes she doesn't even really get to convert off of it. There's a lot of ranges where you'll like 5P somebody out of something, and your 6P will whiff. So you can't actually convert into a knockdown or anything. She makes up for this a little bit by having what is probably the best reversal super in the game in Monomato. Very fast, very huge, does a absurd amount of damage for some reason. I don't know why it does so much. She needs it, I guess. So, if you hit somebody with like reversal Monomato, you get half of their life, and that's without the OTG, because you can OTG after it as well. Just like that. That's 270, right? Now, that's on Ram. Her life total is a little bit lower than other characters. Which is kind of another weakness that she has, is that while she has weaker defense, she also has lower life than most of the other top tiers. Now, the funny thing is, the question that always kind of starts the Ram hate, I feel like, is, does Ram lose any matchups? Is there any character in this game that beats Ram? And realistically, there probably isn't. I'll just be honest with you guys. If there's any character that beats Ram, it's probably very slightly. They have like a very slight advantage against her. Like maybe Chip has a slight advantage, maybe Nago has a slight advantage, but realistically, they're probably just even. And she beats a lot of characters in this game. And a lot of the times, if you ask somebody, you know, what is your character's worst matchup, they'll probably say Ram in a lot of cases. Especially like the lower tier characters. If you look at someone like Jacko, if you look at somebody like even like Anji or something, a lot of those players will point towards Ram as being like, this character just destroys my character, right? So she's really good for tournament for that reason as well, because she, you know, doesn't have to worry about bad matchups. Even the other top tiers, they all might have 1 or 2 characters that beat them. Another thing that she honestly has that is very good for her that I think kind of goes under the radar is the fact that she plays around the wall break mechanic extremely well. Whether it be, you know, the fact that she uses positive bonus very well, right? If you do whatever combo, which by the way, another strength of hers is that she can break the wall from pretty much anywhere. Anywhere on this range, she'll probably get a wall break, right? And then she uses positive bonus, honestly better than most, if not every other character in the game. Her block strings are very long, and she has a great way to just do block strings and build meter. She uses the meter for pressure and damage and all of that very well as well. Having meter on deck for super defensively is very good, of course. But she can also choose to not break the wall, which is another great thing for her, you know? This is something that I feel like I kind of popularized, but pretty much every Ram player has started doing it, you know? Where you get like your hit or whatever, right? So you'll just get whatever hit. And then instead of doing a combo that would break the wall, you just do something that doesn't break the wall. And then you just maintain your extremely strong corner pressure, keep gaining meter, keep making the opponent, you know, jack up their risk gauge, keep making them have to spend FD, something like that. So she's extremely flexible with the wall mechanic, and in some matchups you want to break the wall every time. In some matchups you never want to break the wall. Other matchups you want to do like a mix of both. It depends on the situation. You know, Ram has always been strong too. She's been strong pretty much since the release of the game, but I think in this most recent patch that we're playing on, I think this is kind of where the hate has really started to grow for her, because she got quite a few buffs, namely to Hereka. Hereka is so much better than it used to be, letting her convert off of her pokes. You know, she gets far slash into pokes now, even without a counter hit. And this really, like, kind of, I think, made her kit that much more well-rounded, because she used to kind of struggle to convert some things. Now everything will go into, like, a hard knockdown and build just an absolutely absurd amount of meter. Which, again, going back to what I was saying, she uses meter better than most characters, so... Look how much meter, like that was just a poke into a special move and it built like almost half a bar, right? Hereka makes her pressure so much better mid-serene. If you ever mash on Hereka, you actually just like lose the game for some reason. It's such a fantastically strong starter. So like if you were to get hit by this, for example, you actually take so much damage for getting hit by this. Like that's half-life, right? And I didn't even optimize that combo. Yeah, I think this patch is probably what pushed her over the edge in terms of how people kind of view her. I don't really think, like, I'm not in agreement that she is, like, you know, definitively top 1, but she is definitely a character that is certainly in contention for best in the game, right? Overall, she's just a very safe character. She really kind of commands the pace of neutral a lot. Her pressure is very strong and requires you to take a risk, and her on her own doesn't have to take a risk, which is great. Her only downside is that she has lower health. Her defense is a little bit weaker compared to the other top tiers. She doesn't have like a truly like cheap mix-up per se. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Ram. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about Ram. Do you agree with me? Do you think she's busted? Do you think she's top 1? Or do you maybe think not quite that good? Some people just need to learn the matchup. And let me know what you think about the matchup for your character if you don't play Ram. How do you feel your character does against Ram? Anyways, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what character you'd like to see me talk about next. And I will see you guys in the next one.